Sushi.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another episode here on the Owwll Podcast, where we interview some people that are making impact to this world. So we don't do this show on a regular basis anymore. We're just looking for the best folks out there that are making impact. I'm joined by my co-host, Ellie Santra. Ellie, why don't you say a couple words and then intro our guests? Let's get right into it today.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's been a minute since we've done this, but I'm excited about just everything that's going on with Owwll 2.0. If you haven't re-downloaded, if you're not already on it, make sure that you get on there. Now every single person has access to receive calls on the app at no cost. So it's pretty amazing. And I'm also excited about our new brand ambassador program. I'm the head of brand ambassadors. So if you guys are interested in becoming an ambassador with us, or having your company be an affiliate with us, email me, marketing@owwll.com, and we will get it going.
And I'm actually excited about the affiliate component of that, right?
Yeah.
Like we always had an affiliate agreement, but we didn't focus too much of our time on it. But with Owwll 2.0, we enabled groups to go on the home screen of the Owwll app. So what we're doing with folks like South Florida Tech Hub is every single Tuesday, we put their community front and center on the home screen. And then their community go in there, connect with one another, but then our community will call those folks in tech. And then they can get an affiliate percentage on the people that are making calls, taking calls on the app. So I'm really excited because we could bring people over in the massives now, which I think we're going to get into with our guest today because, he knows a thing or two about social media. So let's get right into our guest.
Yeah. So Conrad Quinter, excited to have you. We have a lot of marketing people on this podcast, but I have a feeling that you're the real deal. So
Hopefully.
tell us a little bit about what you do.
Okay. So what I typically do is I like to help contractors, small businesses actually make money with what they're doing online, right? A lot of people get these leads. They get like, oh, I got like 80 leads but they don't get any money from it, So my thing is making sure I'm consulting with them one-on-one so we can make sure that whatever they're getting, they're actually getting money back from. And if they don't get the results that they want, I simply just give them their money back and we call it a day.
I love how you brought that up, getting leads, but then nothing happens from those leads. Because I ran ads in the financial service business going after wealth management leads. Then I tried annuity leads. Then I tried life insurance leads. And I'm like, what is going on? I keep getting leads and everyone's like, oh, it's so great. You get leads at like $2, $5, $12. And I started to get them. And then every time I called someone, the person picked up and said they didn't fill out the lead. And then I put more filters on that made it almost impossible that they didn't fill it out. Like it was like, how much do you want to invest? Right. And they put $500,000. And then it's like male or female, what is the money used for retirement? Then you call them, they're like, didn't fill that out. And then you're like, how is this possible? So I was always skeptical, with everything that you're speaking about. And I also noticed that so many people chase, doing ads and they just dump money in like $100, $200 and then quit. And it's very frustrating. So I'm excited to learn from you, to just hear kind of your background and really some tips how to really do it. So that way you're not just throwing money against a program and then jump to the next program, for example.
The main thing is when you're doing it, you have to find a formula or solution for you, whether that's lead ads, message ads, call ads, whatever, whether it's Facebook, Google, whatever, right? You have to find a solution that's like, okay, well, I'm spending like for contractors, if I can get them somewhere between $50 to $150 per appointment, they're winning. They can do well with that, right? Because they're selling $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 jobs. It's all about whatever you're spending and whatever you're coming back with. Even if it's a 30%, 40% margin on the upscale and you're doing good, keep doing it. Who cares how much that lead costs or doesn't cost? One of the main things that people look at, especially when they're running Facebook ads, is, okay, yeah, you're getting leads. There's a couple parts to it, right? Because yes, you can run that simple lead form where there's nothing that they have to fill out. I mean, it's just very simple. But what's happening is the people that are on there, they're just clicking it to get to their next part of their day. They're not actually interested. So you're right with having some of those questions, things like that in there. But sometimes you want to even dive further in there, especially for service-based businesses. Like, hey, I don't care how much, you have a guy who says, I don't care how much these leads cost. I just want to make sure someone's going to pick up the phone when I call them and they're actually interested. Okay, well, ask them some detailed questions like a street address. It's all about certain things that can't be auto-filled sometimes. Like a street address can't be auto-filled on the Facebook ads. Like you have to type it out. And plus, do you want to give your street address to somebody right off the bat if you're not really that interested? So the intent goes higher, the cost goes up, but your cost per acquisition may actually go down because now you're getting a hold of the person.
Yeah, and I agree, because when you're looking at accountants, lawyers, financial service professionals, these are all service-based businesses, right? And often they're not worried about spending $10, $50 on a lead, right? Their most important thing is their time in their schedule, week in and week out, and having valuable appointments in their schedule. And they know that if they spend $300 on a lead and it returned them $2,000, it's a home run, right? Or $10,000, right? But so often people fail at these strategies, right? They go to marketing agencies that tell them, oh, I get you leads. And exactly what you said earlier is like the leads come in and then they end up quitting because they're not the right leads. So I love this topic because often we see the success actually on the other side where it's an actual product. It's like this remote control, right? And the remote control costs $10 to come in from China when you buy 100 of them, right? And then somebody runs an ad and the ad costs them $1, right? And they're able to then resell this remote directly on their one-page website for $18, and they're picking up spread, right? So I've seen so much success with products, but I've seen so much failure with service-based businesses. So really the marketing gurus out there that can figure out the service-based businesses are extremely talented, right? So let's just keep diving in deeper. Let's use like someone like Ellie as an example, right? Yeah. She's running our brand ambassador program, right? And there is high margins, right? It's just getting people into the Owwll app. That's step one. But then after that, being part of this brand ambassador community. So I'm assuming you and Ellie could work together and you could pretty much, help her run ads and then pretty much scale, what she's looking to. She's looking to go from about 50 brand ambassadors to 100 in the next 4 months.
Right.
Right. And I could sense that leveraging these ads can be quite impactful versus DMing people on Instagram, doing voice notes, video notes.
Now it's VAs and stuff.
And everything.
People
getting
know
harder and harder. And I think the one area that most people skip over is the pay to play models. Everyone tries to do the free stuff, which is what we're talking about. AI models are sending a mass amount of messages, which is getting cheaper and cheaper, but there's so much more saturation. So kind of explain, what would you do? Let's do a real example. Okay. What would you do if you were Ellie or me? Obviously I'm the funder probably behind this.
We have to talk about you always show the mistake that people make is they talk about themselves and the features. Nobody gives a crap about that. They care about what's the benefit in it. Like when I run ads for my contractors and things like that, I tell them, listen, you can spend $40,000 on a video production at your office and do all this. And they have. And guess what? I can beat their ads by 200, 300% by making something in probably 2 minutes and 30 seconds on Canva. And I can beat their performance.
We're going to raw video. I think Kanye West proved that at the Super Bowl this year. Yeah. Right. He just was driving his car and there was no production costs whatsoever. Right.
None.
And he had massive amount of sales from
but
that.
Everyone talked about because people know who he is already.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why. And the thing when I was talking about with that example is you're trying to show, like when you spend all that money, you're trying to show how cool you are and this and that, and nobody really cares. They don't know.
They want to know what value are you bringing me, right?
So
like when I talk to people on the phone, because typically I'm calling people. Most of our ambassadors are people that already use Owwll, and I'm explaining to them first thing of what they're going to get out of the program and what the benefits are, right? So, there's a list, a couple benefits of every time that you make a referral, you will get 5% of every call that referral makes and receives for life. So essentially it becomes passive income in your pocket, right? Every time that person uses the app. So I'd say like that's a huge one. Another huge one is our community, right? Becoming a part of this community with over 50 entrepreneurs. We have meetings every week. They're not required, but we will actually, not only will you be a part of the meetings, but we pick one ambassador every week to be featured so that you can share with this now new group of like-minded people what you do and get help and connections. So all of that. So like those are some of the big benefits. So how would you then, you're saying you want to show people what the value is, right? So I guess if it's an ad, like would you put that in there or how would you go about
Are
it?
you an inspiring entrepreneur? Do you own a small business or a larger size business and are tired of the mundane conversations that you have on LinkedIn and looking for something that's real, where you can connect with real people, have real knowledge, and have consultations with people all across the board for all different industries without breaking the bank to talk to them, without having to spend $200, $500, or $1,000 per phone call? Imagine only spending $5 or $10 to talk to somebody for 15 minutes, ask them any questions that you want, but yet they've hit the 7, 8, 9-figure marks that you're looking to achieve.
So would you do it though in like a Canva ad? Would you do it in a video
Oh, I'd
form?
probably
Like,
just have you, like, you might want to set up something in here, have you could
just
do a
talking
video
about
ad.
it.
You could also have like even just a standard, almost a picture of the app itself. And
Right,
somebody's
right.
like, "Oh, what is this?" You know what I mean? And you want them to, the easiest way to get them in there is do free, free runs where it doesn't cost anything to become a member.
And
And you
that
can
is right now, you doesn't cost
right, and
anything. So,
it's not that difficult because I've done it for, I mean, I played around with a lot of different industries, but I did it for a fitness app, and the first time ever I ran ads to try to get for a fitness app, I think I got like $2 downloads or $1 downloads for them. And this is the first time I ever even tried, right? The point is there's more value to entrepreneurs and business people than there is downloading another fitness app. There's a million fitness apps. There's a million calorie counters, but there's not apps out there like, think about like ClickFunnels, Go High Level, all that community. You could say, hey, are you in the ClickFunnels or Go High Level community? Are you an inspiring entrepreneur trying to take your game to the next level?
yeah.
Well, we have the ultimate power
Lead generator where
anything, but you would I would say, make specific ads for the type of person you're trying to bring in or attract. Don't start saying, entrepreneurship, small business, and then all of a sudden throw in there,
music
music.
right.
This you're gonna.
It's too broad. But
It's too broad.
going back to the actual ad again, like I'm curious because I feel like that's a lot to put in like a picture, right? Like to say it was like a picture of the app and we're like, have you da 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 da.
Just make
Would
it.
that
You
be
just make
all
it
in the
simple,
would
though.
that be like in the in the what is it called? The copy you're saying? Or would that because like I feel like people don't like, read the copy as much either. Or would it be like
you'd be surprised? People do read the
people
copy,
read
but
the
they're not going to
copy?
read 4 paragraphs, but they do read
Yeah.
the copy to see what
Okay.
they're.
So you would say probably just doing like a nice picture of the app with the
Maybe,
copy
you don't
or
know.
to A/B testing,
The
I
thing
guess.
is, you have to throw shit against the
Yeah.
wall. I'm just going to tell you like it is. You have to, and you have to do it and see what hits. Right. So, okay, hey, well, because of X, well, we got this result, but Z, while we're running X is giving this result, but now as we're running Z or the AB, whatever you want to call it, you're getting a better result. Now, is this result that I'm getting leading into actual real people, or is it just random downloads? So then that's
Right.
another thing you have to look at, which is the true goal. So you have this little part and then you have the actual goal. And for your program, I don't think you go and try to push that program until people know and have experience. That's
The app, of course. That's why most of all of my leads pretty much are in-app people that I call and say, noticed you're using
or
the app.
retarget all the people who already know
Right.
about the Owwll app. I'm sure you have a giant
I was going to
audience.
say that. Can you share with our audience just retargeting a tab? Like we have all people's names and emails.
Yeah.
Some of them even have entered their
big?
Facebook or LinkedIn
How big's the
profile.
list?
We're approaching 10,000 right
Okay.
now that have downloaded or tried it at one point in beta environment, but we still have their information, even though they're not even in the real environment, for example. But
So those are the people you'd want to push the program to, right?
Yeah.
So explain retargeting for a second.
Okay.
You have this list. What do you do next?
So if you have a list, you can simply upload it on usually Facebook is a platform. Now Facebook owns Instagram and all these, other or Meta, whatever you want to call it. They own everything. So essentially you would go into, I don't know if anybody already knows, but you go into Ads Manager. Then you would create a new campaign and it's what's called a custom audience, right? So just always, when I look at things or when I'm watching long videos, I try to remember just a couple things. You're never going to remember all of it. So just remember custom audience. You make that under the ad set. So ad set and custom audience, and then you upload the list. So you hit upload. Now they may ask you to do it in CSV or Excel.
Yeah.
You might have to convert that audience. But what you do is then you upload it to there. You make sure once it's uploaded, you say, hey, well, I'm not trying to restrict this to certain areas. I'm not trying to restrict this to certain age. I just let it do its thing. Now, retargeting, you can't put boatloads of money into it because there's only so many people it attacks, right? So typically, if you're running an ad online, you spend $100 for the United States, you might get in front of 3,000 to 10,000 people for that $100. In a couple of days or a week, your audience is already going to be, hit. So you want that retargeting going while you have something else going for new people. That's why the first question I asked you, how big was that list?
Yeah. And do you believe more on just pictures versus video? Right. I get it. I get ads on both
It's
sides.
such a great question. And the real answer is it depends, because I have a client who went from, in a year and a half, went from $400,000 a year and with 4 trucks to like 24 trucks and $10 million a year in a year and a half. And all it was a selfie picture of him. And it said, for his service, he offered a free type of service. So he would go in the home and do something for free for that person, right?
Was he an everyday person though, or was he famous?
HVAC. It was HVAC.
He wasn't a famous individual. Right.
So
it's different if
Just a
you're
selfie and
you understand. Like your
Yeah.
Kanye West has that example on the Super Bowl. Like it's
correct.
different.
No, this
like
is
that.
a person who is nothing.
Or he was
Regular.
an NFL athlete and everyone knew him. You kind of understand what I'm saying.
So obviously you mentioned like construction, like who are your ideal clients that you're working with, or who do you typically work with?
I'll go on that, but I still like to stick to example because I want to give you the keys to the game. I want you to understand why.
Yeah.
So you have that retargeting going while you're bringing in new. I would probably say for you guys, you either have the downloads going as well, and then you also have like video views, and you're running a campaign for video views about this app, maybe a 10-15 second video view campaign. So you're constantly getting new eyeballs that you can retarget back into it, right? So you're always, for something like this, I would say the best thing to do is you want to bring in fresh audience, but while you're bringing them in and all those people signing up, you're going to want to constantly retarget them, especially for the ambassador program. It's just to get people to sign up. Then you don't really need to retarget. You need to specifically just hit all new people. And I think personally, if you ran ads for an app or a download and you're giving the right message to the right type of people in each ad specifically, I think you could crush it. But for you guys specifically, I think it would be a great idea to mainly hit those entrepreneurship people, those, the right people that people want to connect with, where there's money behind it versus
we do really well with the LinkedIn crowd.
Yeah.
Right. And if you kind of pull back the LinkedIn crowd, what are their most active users? It's those solo entrepreneurs that typically are 35 to 65 years old. They go in, they want to send some messages, they want to engage reading posts, and eventually
they use the phone,
set up a meeting, right? Set up a Zoom meeting, set up a phone call meeting, whatever it might be, or set up a coffee date, whatever it is. And we're finding that audience really loves Owwll. And we have tried ads. We have tried ads in the past. I guess my follow-up question would be, are you solely focused on Facebook and Instagram, or do you take it even a step further? Like the App Store itself has ads, right? I've messed around with that, because if someone's in the App Store already, of course, they're just one click away from downloading Owwll, right? And then taking a step further, LinkedIn, right? They've been messing around with more things on the ad space ever since Microsoft took them over.
Yeah.
So what's your 2 cents on just other platforms to run ads? And of course, you go even a step further with banner ads, right? A lot of folks don't touch that side of
here's the thing with the banner ads, the display ads. This is the key to all of it. It is your offer. What am I going? You have 1 second of time. Most people don't even do a second anymore. It's a half a second of time online.
Crazy.
What are you going to give me for wasting my half a second, 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds of time? People do not give a crap about you or me or anybody. They care about what's in it for them constantly. That's what it's all about, right? So whatever you're doing, you want to figure out some type of offer or benefit for these people. That's how I can blow out a 30 like somebody spends $30,000 on a video production and they think, oh, we did this great commercial, this and that.
Sure.
Do you know if everybody's going to watch your 2-minute and 30-second video? The answer is you don't. And the worst part about it is, the worst, I'll say it, and I can get shade or hate or whatever. At the end of the video, call us today. You got their attention. You spent all this money. You showed who you are, who you're trustworthy, you're good people, this and that. And then at the end of the video, all you say is, hey, just give us a call. Now, is that, first off, is that number you're going to, is that even trackable, first off? And even if it is, you're just saying, give us a call. You're not saying in the video the offer that you're doing. Look at, so for instance, I just saw a commercial for Old Navy, right? Very simple. Between this date and this date, we're giving 50% off. There's no up to, it's 50% off. Damn, that's a good deal. Let me go in there.
Sure.
Right. It's always about the deal. The poorest person and the richest person always still want a deal. I'll talk to people and they'll, if I offer a certain thing, they sometimes, may want to say, oh, I got somewhere else. Well, go somewhere else then. I'm not, that the thing is, they want, someone always wants to try to find that better price, that better deal, especially with the housing costs, things like that. I mean, we've almost doubled in.
Well, I always laugh with gas.
Cost 10 years
like
ago.
BJ's and Costco just own the market down here, right? Everyone will spend an hour online and it's like 3 cent difference with a gas station right next door. And there's only like 3 cars in line.
Right.
But it's always rushing, there's something psychological that happens with gas. Gas is just like a crazy, someone should do this, a big survey on that.
For sure.
You're like 3 cents, 20 gallons. You're like 60 cents, right? Is it like what makes everyone like want
Walmart? Why is Walmart blow everybody out the water? Because
Sure.
it's they guarantee the lowest.
Amazon.
cost. Amazon.
I'm at the point where if things are a little bit more money on Amazon, I still rather purchase it at Amazon.
Because it's faster.
It's
less
faster.
time.
My account information's there,
Yep.
and also return policy. I
Right.
just know it's so easy to work with them if something goes wrong and I just need to return it. And I
Yeah.
like that it's also in my past orders, so I go
for sure. They
backwards
know
to see it.
everything.
So
Yeah.
I buy things from 20 different places. It's all over the map.
It's in I guess the point I'm getting at it with all this is it truly is all about the offer. I've tested so many different things, and it always makes the biggest difference is, I hate to say it, you just offer the lower price, or you say, hey, we'll guarantee to beat hey, in Palm Beach County contractors or roofers or whatever, we'll guarantee, if you've gotten a price from them, we'll guarantee to beat it by up to 40%, right? Well, what do you see a difference? You literally see the lead cost
Sure.
go from $80, $90 down to $17. And that's how social media is. And if you don't use it for what's the benefit for the customer, not the benefit for you, you will lose. What happens is everybody looks at social media or Facebook ads, YouTube, all of it. They constantly think, what's the benefit for my company? I want this customer. I want that. Well, you don't do. Are you a $100 million company? Does everybody know you on the block? Most of the time, you're $1 million to $5 million company. You have some employees who are growing. Maybe a few people know about you. It's not about you. It's about how you can get in the door and meet with potential new customers, at least have a phone conversation, see what's going on, or at least get out to their house so you can offer value. And then you demonstrate enough value to them. And they're like, oh yeah, this person really knows what they're talking about. Forget about all these. I'm willing to pay even $3,000 more. Even though their ad said this, I'm still willing to pay $3,000 more for their service because they're offering more value. Let's do a deal. But without getting in the door, you're screwed.
So let's just talk about just the way your business is structured, because everyone's hearing all this knowledge, and often then comes like, okay, well, how do we work together? Right? Like how does it completely operate? Because again, going back to the remote example, like we know the ads work, but then all of a sudden, like there's only so much margin, with certain products. So like kind of explain, how does it operate to hire someone in your shoes? And is it a pay per performance or is it a month-to-month contract? Kind of explain more of the details behind the scenes, because I feel like a lot of people unfortunately get burned, right?
No, not like 95%.
I know. So your world has a lot, unfortunately a lot of bad, you know, feedback that comes from other people who have tried it. Like the ads did work, but there wasn't enough margin, right? Or they just did, one service, but they didn't go to the other extremes. And of course, these other extremes could be pay-per-click ads. They could be SEO, right? There's a lot of things that kind of, what I've seen, work together and all of a sudden drives those ad costs down and then kind of completes the whole picture. So often, sometimes people say, well, it's just pay-per-click. It's like, well, what did your website look like? Like, what did your Google reviews look like? Right. I have a buddy who I interviewed on the Shrimp Tank podcast, Single Swags. He's the master at pay-per-click ads.
Yeah.
This guy sells 50,000 boxes. Practically no one knows his brand. If I said his brand to you right now, the odds are you probably don't know it. He sells 50,000 boxes a month. And most of these are happening through pay-per-click ads right through Facebook, right? Not Instagram, but Facebook itself. He just figured it out really early on, like 10 years ago. Yeah. He has a very large Instagram account when it was a lot easier to create organic reach on Instagram. But he figured it out, right? And he messed with different types of ads, all these times. And he just puts, certain products in a box and a subscription, beauty products, and now he's driven the cost down to those products down to practically nothing, where people are paying him to get in his box, just getting their brand out to 50,000 people every month. And that's very valuable if they put a little sample size in there, of course. So kind of explain, someone says, okay, I've seen you on a couple podcasts now, how do we proceed? Like, what is the process for your business? How does it start? Start with a Zoom meeting, and then kind of how do we operate month to month, year to year?
So typically I run an ad for myself, right? If I'm an run ads for clients,
of course,
this is one of the things that I laugh at. So many especially these, these roofers or contractors, they tell me, they see ads online for these people or whatever. But then you see people in groups asking how to run leads or how to get appointments for themselves. And that's one of you're a hypocrite. You shouldn't be charging for your service.
I always look at, even just for me, I get so many people saying, I can help you grow your following on Instagram. And I'm like, if you can help me grow my following, how come you have no followers?
Bingo,
I'm like, yeah, exactly.
So back to that. It's and that's why I said when I first came in here, we were talking about lead generation and different people. It's not crazy, but I've generated probably in maybe 2.5 years, maybe 1.5 actually for myself, or 1.5 million for myself, and then over $50 million for my clients. And the thing is, people hire people, but they don't actually have any back. And a lot of these people they're hiring, there's some guys out there that literally say, okay, well, you pay me 10 or 20 grand and I'm going to build your marketing agency. So basically, have no idea what the hell you're talking about. And you can't get your own clients. So you can pay me, but I'll make your thing for you. So all we're going to do is cut and paste the same formula I've always used for everybody else. Hypothetically, that's what they're saying. And that formula can only work for so long because you're only just copying and pasting other people's ads like mine, which was copied a ton of times.
And it would work if you're going lawyer to lawyer, right? But once you start going one mobile app, to a different one that's about fitness, it changes. Yes.
Yeah, that's the truth of it. Yeah. I've spent, it's not crazy again, but it was crazy to me at one time to even fathom that. I probably spent maybe $120,000 of learning this craft and learning it, most of it shit, losing.
But that's the only way to do it.
Losing over and over and over and over again. And the thing is,
that should actually be the interview question. How much money have you lost, in business? And then okay, that's the person I want to hire, right? Because those are the people that have thrown so much against the wall to figure it out on their own. And then it comes natural and easier to them. No different than us running this podcast studio, right? The television, the mics, the cords, everyone thinks they could just pop up a podcast. There's so much going on. And it's taken us 400 or 500 shows to get it to this level. And it's the same thing in business, right? Often when hiring people, it's we're asking the wrong questions. It should be how much money have you lost in the course of your business doing this, right?
And it should never be, how much is it, as your first question. If I hear that, you're just not on the same wavelength I need somebody to be on. I need somebody to say, can I talk to some people who have been successful with you? What are some of the things that you do that can help my business? I've tried a bunch of other things. When people say I've tried it but it didn't work, the first thing I ask them, let's stop our conversation there and ask, let's go into the nitty gritties and figure out why it didn't work. Tell me more. Was it you didn't get any leads? Did you not get any appointments? Was the appointment cost too high? This, like, and back to what you were saying, is the only damn thing that matters is, especially for and really any business, is, are you connecting with people? How much does it cost to connect or have an actual conversation with somebody? And then how many people do you need to connect with to acquire a sale? And then how much do you spend to acquire those sales? A lot of times people screw up because they want to say, oh, I want to run ads, but you're selling something for a service for $120. So if you're selling a service for $120, you can't go more than 4 leads being more than $10 before you're in the shit or in the gutter. You have to make sure that whatever you're putting out there, you can spend to create it. That's why with contractors, I don't understand sometimes their philosophy. Like they might spend $200 and are expecting somehow some miracle to happen. You're selling a $10,000 to $100,000 product. You think, so you only want to, so you say, okay, well, I spend $200 or $600, and every $600 I spend, I should be able to acquire $30,000 for $600 spend at a 30-40% margin. So I give you $600, you're going to give me back $15,000 every single time. That's pretty fucking good. They're unfortunately, sorry about the language, but
go for it.
At the end of the day, that's how they think. They think, I spent $7,000 this month, I should be able to sell more than 10 roofs or 12 roofs, but each roof is $10,000 to $20,000. So you spend $7,000 and you sold $100,000 to $200,000 worth of sales at a 30% margin. So you want more than 600% of your money.
So then
that's how they think.
And then how do you do the
frustrated?
So there is an art to the other side of this equation, right? A lot of people I find can figure out how to eventually get leads, but then closing leads and the systems around that, because often that is skipped so often. And right, you obviously most people fail before they even get the leads. I would agree with you there, right? The first thing is
the problem is not
in financial services. I will say most people fail like the first 5 years in the business. I saw hundreds of financial advisors fail because they couldn't get on enough meetings. And then eventually, when you look at the difference between the good and the best advisors, it's not that they're better at advising. It's the secondary process. Now that process of literally, like, the lead comes in. Does it go into a CRM? How are they touched, right? Yeah. And I'll just kind of give a tip to everyone listening. Like, one of my coolest things that I ever did is I uploaded all my clients into Amazon. And every time there was a death or an exciting moment in their family's life or Christmas came around, I went right into Amazon. It takes me 1 minute. Find an item, send it to them. Right, you could send a $7 item; it touches them.
See,
right? They had a grand,
and
those little touches, like, they love you. But ready, because Amazon is so quick, and everyone's like, if you had to do it the old school way, like, okay, I got to go over to CDS, you won't do it. But by doing that, like, I one time called a hotel. I knew my client was visiting that hotel I think it was in like Cancun. And I just called the hotel. I'm like, can you send them a bottle of wine? They walked in. The first thing they saw was something that I provided to them. Right. And like, but these are like outside the box things that sometimes just take a little bit of effort, but mean so much to people. And people will never forget the way you make them feel. That's why good old handwritten notes. We just had our recent guest on 2 weeks ago, and we walked in. We walked in and we got a card today. And only, I would say, 1 out of 50 people send us a card after a podcast show. But ready, like, the first thing I'm thinking is, oh, I want to refer these people right away after, like, law of reciprocation. So I just think that, it's so valuable, like, not following the trends, what everybody else is doing, which is always like quick messaging on social media, right? Lazy stuff, right? Go outside the box. And that's why sometimes people in my shoes never see, like, behind the scenes, the amount of relationships that I have off of social media, because I got everyone's cell phone numbers, or I've done these gifts. So I could reach out to anyone I sent a gift to, and they'll text me back immediately. Right? Because they're like, okay, this is a genuine human being. Right? So I'm a big believer on old school stuff still mixed in with the new school. So let's go back to You get a lead. What happens after that?
That's the biggest mistake everybody makes, right? We're just going to say number one mistake isn't your marketer.
Yeah.
It's that. And I'm going to say that because you can run the stinky lead form leads, right? This is just from my experience. And you cannot even have any qualifying questions or anything like that up front. And you can still get a hold of people and book appointments.
Yeah.
And the reason I say this is the biggest mistake is the speed of which people are getting it and how fast they're contacting it. Also, not thinking like a human, meaning, okay, well, this person just put their info online, right? And they just gave it to me. Now, when I text them, because that's a no-brainer. If you're not texting people, you're just losing tons and tons of money. I mean, people ignore their own mom's phone call. So you think they're just going to pick up from a random number all the time? No, but maybe if you call it back to back, they will. The thing is, here's what happens most times. The lead comes in, and this is how you should do it. The lead comes in, you set a Zapier. This is the number one way to do it. I don't care what anybody says. You set it up through Zapier. You have it go from Twilio. Twilio is just an app that you can use to send
texting.
Yeah, texting, calls, whatever. Anyways, and don't worry about don't think, oh, well, it costs this much. Don't worry about that because you're always going to make more than what you're spending. The point is, Facebook ad or whatever ad you're doing from a lead form instantly to your phone, just like old school. Don't change the thing. Don't have it go through all these things. Just put it right to your phone. You're running around, you hear it, ding. Now you could go to like go high level and have it do something like that or ClickFunnels. But long story short, you want to hit that lead as soon as you see that number, bing, you finish your water, call it. It doesn't matter if you're in an email. It doesn't matter what you're doing because they don't know what you're doing. They put it in, they raise their hand. Hey, I have a question in class, right? So they answered your question, right? But we can go back to this example. You're in class.
Yeah.
The teacher asks a question. You have your hand up. She answers your question, right? I still have my hand up, right?
Sure.
Then the teacher comes back to me. Mrs. Jones, I forgot. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But that's what happens when you wait 30 minutes to call the lead. 60 seconds, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, tops, and back to back.
And there's stats on that too, right? Because
So you're saying
Harvard study.
Yeah.
But using like Twilio and these things, or Zapier or whatever. So as like the person that's trying to get leads, you put your ad out, just like for like the people that are new to this. So you put your ad out, and then the ad is texting you leads to your phone, essentially.
Correct.
And then you're saying like it's your choice, like you have to be on it like in 2 seconds.
Yeah, and don't call from your office phone.
Right.
Don't ever call because
you're saying texting is better. So if I'm the business owner, I get that lead.
You call and
send a
text like, hey,
Yeah.
think of your mom's in an emergency.
Yeah.
You need to get a hold of her. That's how you need to treat your leads.
Yeah.
Because if not, you're just pissing $80, $70 down the drain every single time.
I think
Because they are there. I
It
promise
could
you.
be right on your website.
Because
as
I've
you're
gone
talking.
literally a day like, okay, well, I got 10 leads, because I'll do message ads, I'll do call ads. I play around with different stuff to find out what works best for them. Let's just say they got 10 leads. Oh, we only got a hold of one person. I'll come in from a Florida number, texting a Texas number, and randomly I get 4 people to say, yeah, this is John. Hey, John, were you interested in that special we had? You saw our Facebook ad about this. All of a sudden, I get 4 or 5 responses back. So now that list of 1 out of 10 shit goes to 5 out of 10. Now you're at a 50% ratio of people who are interested. So is it really the leads or is it you just not knowing how to handle it?
Correct. And I've seen so many people get the same batch of leads fail, right? Versus the other one is like, these are gold. And it's all about that follow through. Right.
How good you are in person. So people
yeah.
will say they go out to appointment. Oh, this appointment shit, this and that. Man, this is amazing. We made $230,000 this month. And there's two things. It's the lead is important, but your sales game is important too. I would not be where I'm at if all I knew was marketing. Well, no way. And I everything I do is different than what everybody else teaches. They teach, oh, well, you need to make this awesome video. You need to do this. I've made ads in literally 20 seconds in Canva, thrown up literally a red background, some white writing about whatever offer or special, and I've slapped it up there, and I've gotten 4 times less cost
than the people
previous
spending.
video
Yeah.
thing.
And I will say that the difference, again, to like if you're talking about the construction brand, the ones that really last and really go from like 10 million to 50 million, that's stuff you can't mess around with ads. That's going to be the stuff that I was talking about with Amazon. It's going to be 5-star reviews, someone coming out to your home. I'll give a shout out to Erica's Plumbing for a moment, right? I out of all the people in the like the trades world, right? Trades typically suck at this, right? They don't ask for a 5-star review after a meeting. Like what she does is when you book a meeting, she sends you a text when it's scheduled, when the person's starting to come over. It's like, Joe is coming over. He's from New York. He loves soccer and the New York Mets, right? So you're like, oh, this person's coming. You feel comfortable. They get to your home. Everything's geared out. They got the Erica Plumbing trucks, right? And then all of a sudden they're like, they put stuff over their shoes, right? But then after the actual visit, maybe they fix your toilet, like they're giving you a survey. They're asking you to do a survey on Google. And then following through, like with the discounts, with the text automation, and just even ads, right? So they have the whole package, I guess is what I'm saying. The complete brand, the website branded in certain tones, the vans. And in the plumbing world, you don't see that. So it gives her the ability to scale. And when times are slow, she actually called me last week, someone from her sales team, just said, hey, we're doing free checkups for your AC units, right? And like, so she knows that things go through cycles. Like, think about it right now, it's getting cooler,
Free,
right? So when it gets cooler, you stop using your AC. So what she's going to do is, AC units are going to break less. She's now going on offense and calling you more frequently and just giving shit away, right? So I just look at it as like, and that's where like the touch is like, you can't just have a shitty business is my point. Like you have to actually hire good people, pay them well, treat them well, be a good leader. Because, I see so often, again, going back to like the same leads, right? Then why is it that one company is able to expand, but one is always
I think
kind of
it's
just
treading systems too, not even just who you are, but like I feel like you're such a systems person.
I'm a system guy.
And like I've learned a lot just about systems.
That's why Owwll's even built
from you, and
Owwll's built like a CRM. If you think,
yeah, me too. But like he's even just the way that we set up our podcast, right? You're like, oh, you give me this menu and like you fill out this survey. Like again, it's a system.
Right.
And so I think having just like with Erica's Plumbing, she has her system in place. And I think that is what sets you apart from the people who sometimes just wing it, So
and always be learning. I think too often people are close-minded. They get set in their ways. They're making money and they're like their way or the highway. It's like if it's broken, don't fix it. But that's not true. There's too much technology coming out with AI. Like, stuff is getting old really quickly, and you have to adapt to the new AI technology. It's just getting out of control, right? And I think the folks running businesses that are extremely successful always are learners. They don't stop picking up books, listening to podcasts, and just listening. Too many people want to give advice but not take it.
So I think it's time on that note, taking advice and giving advice. I think we need to make some calls.
Building collaboration, because our show is now all about figuring out right now on the spot. We're going to call people on Owwll and we're going to bridge a collaboration with you. We don't know what it is.
Okay.
We might get you on a future podcast. Sure. We might get you on a stage.
Sure.
We might get someone that wants to meet up with you, that lives locally in South Florida, whatever it might be. We're going to do it on the fly because we're going to teach people on this show is how to just do it old school. Call someone that you do not know and just talk. So what I'm going to do is take a break. You guys chat and I'm going to go set that up. I'll be right back. Okay,
cool.
Sounds good. So obviously all this lead, generation stuff and the ads, like I'm not really techie in that sense. It's a little bit intimidating for me.
Okay.
So
same thing with my wife, Jenna. It was at first for her.
Yeah.
It's not as crazy as you think, though.
So like if you're speaking to the people who are just like starting out and they've never done it before, what would be some tips that you could give them?
Okay. So instead of so much focus on maybe, I think presentation can be important, but instead of putting all your eggs into that basket, so to speak, or the picture or the video or whatever that is for you, take that same energy and put that into offers and messaging to attract the right type of person that you want, and or be able to set up appointments, right? If I would have known this a long time ago, that would have been, I would love to know that was the cheat sheet. It's just literally about the offer. Like for what you were saying, the free, it's very close to what I do. I've done free tune-ups, free AC repairs, but you can do other stuff like, hey, we'll do a free air filter change out for your HVAC unit or your duct. Hey, we'll do a free Freon upgrade. But what is that doing, right? It's taking, instead of, hey, we want to sell units and a cost per unit lead is $230 for somebody who is interested in buying a unit, who's still going to price shop you to death anyways. You say, hey, well, we're going to just help people who need more Freon or need a new filter. You just took that $230 and shrunk it down to $15. And if you get 1 out of 3, 1 out of 2 of them to pick up the phone and book an appointment, that's $30 an appointment instead of $600 or $500 an appointment. You just shrunk the whole game. And then you give value when you're there. And most of the time, think about it this way. Nobody's going to call you out for their HVAC stuff if they just bought it a year ago. Most of the time, these units are going to probably be 10, 20 years old, shot. And if you could probably put them on an $87 a month payment program, it would make a lot of sense to replace this thing if they like you enough, because people really don't buy because of your product or your service. A lot of times they buy because of you. So the ad isn't always to get them to buy. It's just so you can create a meeting with them.
Absolutely.
So just simpler, creating a great offer.
Focus on the offer
and what you're giving.
Double down, triple down.
Not so much about the glitz and glamour, the posts, the entertainment, looking amazing. It's really just about the offer.
We did enter to win a roof giveaway. I made an ad in Canva, again, very fast ad. It was white background, red writing, clip art, Santa Claus. And that, I think at that point we're getting like $12 appointments for roofers.
But when it comes to like, that makes sense of the marketing side of it. But when it comes to like the technical aspect of it, and like when I see that page on Facebook with all the things and the numbers and I'm like, and I run away. So like, what would you suggest? Where do you start with that?
So Facebook has made it a lot easier for the average person to be able to do this. You do not want to, you can even start doing something as simple as a boosted post, right? You can start there. I think a lot of people know how to do that.
Yeah, boosting is very simple.
But you could also look at others in your world, right? Like when I was doing this in financial services, I went to the number one financial service company that was running ads. Like most of them don't run ads.
They're doing,
and I just went over there, and of course you could look at all their ads, and of course, like they're spending millions. Like some of these financial service firms are spending, absorbent amount of money on ads, right? And you could just look through all of them and then kind of copy similarities.
You look
at they're working.
What's the likes, the engage? If there's engagement,
about a roofing company in Texas that's doing it, just like, okay, they're not in your market in Florida, like bring those ads right over here.
Last thing, how do you tell if it's real or fake? Because so much is paid, bots. Even when you say if there's engagement, it's good, but there are bots now. There's fake commenting groups.
They're going to get in trouble because the law just got passed last week. All the fake reviews, all this stuff. People are going to.
The businesses themselves are going to get regulated. That you look for that, like to be able to tell?
Good question. So I'll just be transparent. You go on my page. When I first did this, I bought. I like, oh, we're going to get you followers. I did it, and it wasn't real followers. The point is when you're doing things like looking at the engagement, look at the people and where they're from. So if you see them and it has, you go to each like if you really want to be an investigator.
Yeah.
And like some people get mad at me because I just call them out for what it is. But when you did it yourself, then you can call it out. But the point is like, just to say you see a post that has 300,000 views, right? And, 200 comments. But when you go to those comments and you see all the people commenting, might only have, 300 followers, 100 followers, 7 followers. Their last post was from last year.
Yeah.
It's fake.
Yeah.
So it's really simple. You just look if it's recent and it's very relevant to the actual post. If it's all just like hands, like, hey, it's probably fake. Yeah. But if you see actual relevant comments,
real engagement,
then
But even with AI now, it's like so crazy. Like
it's taking over LinkedIn.
Like,
comments are.
Well, what's the go? I see this all the time, and I was at a thing yesterday, a speakeasy event. with Yaya. They do a lot of marketing and God ministry as well. But anyways, I was there, and there's a gentleman who was talking about, well, this video went viral. This with all respect, what's the point of going viral if you're not going to impact people or make money?
Right.
from it?
Exactly.
I want to go viral. I want to
Yeah.
do this. Like,
What's
okay,
your
if you
plan
have
after you go viral?
yeah, maybe you're a hot chick. You have OnlyFans, and maybe that's a point of going viral because now you can monetize from that, right? But other points is like, here's another thing. I see roofers, contractors, all different types of businesses. They're trying to go viral and build up their social media, but they don't realize organically you're hitting the United States. You're not hitting your local market. And the only true people locally who are seeing you most likely is that small percentage of you have 2,000 followers. Okay, I have 2,000. That 1 to 3% of people locally are seeing your shit.
You know what's so funny about this conversation? I've had over 300 interviews on my other show, The Shrimp Tank. And in order to be on that show, you have to have $1 million of revenue, 5 years in business, 5+ employees. And if I did a survey, I guess one day I will hopefully have more time on my schedule, like just taking all of them and looking at all their social media engagement. And usually it sucks. It's horrible. Their company pages don't have any followers, but these are major businesses, right? Like you're mentioning like the HVAC space. Like I'm friends with like Hill York Air Conditioning, right? The original founders are in one of my networking groups. They sold the company, but you go to their social media, it's horrible. But there's so many businesses in the trades that are doing millions upon millions of sales every year, or even 100 million. Like one of our guests on the Shrimp Tank was Shipmonk, right?
Mm-hmm.
He raised $400 million of venture capital at one point, and kid was in his like low 30s. You go to his website and his Google reviews, there's like 4 Google reviews. I'm like, how is this company doing hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue? Right? It's a logistics company. So think about shipping, again, go back to this remote, shipping this to your front door from Amazon.
Yeah.
Like all these small businesses have to partner with brands like his to get their products and deal with the logistics. So that box company that I talked about earlier, he uses Shipmonk, right? So 50,000 boxes go out of the warehouse in Fort Lauderdale. But this guy's got now, it's warehouses throughout the world doing this, right? But then their Instagram account doesn't care whatsoever about it, right? My point is like, so many focus on the following and they don't realize what you just said. It's like, then what, right? It doesn't turn into much, right? So I completely
unless your followers are all local.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
If you can build a thing of like, okay, well, let's just say, I think social media and putting a lot of work into it can be good for local business, but you need to put campaigns strictly around, okay, I want to do a following for local people. I want to build up my following for local people. Yeah. And I hate to say it, you're not going to get it organically. You're not going to, unless you get local people, maybe celebrities, different things like that are local to share you. And maybe you do some cross promotion or you pay them to do posts about you, because when you just post on the platform, especially with Instagram, it's not, you can't say, I only want to show it to this people in a 25-mile radius when you do it organically. So when they say, oh, well, if you get on the Explore page, it's going to go viral. Well, what if I have a local coffee brewery here and I only serve a 10-mile market?
Of course.
What's the point of going viral for a beautiful coffee thing you did?
Absolutely. So let's kick it into gear and let's move over to the Owwll app. Okay, I know you're the featured expert.
I'm a new guy.
You're the featured expert of the day today. All next week.
Zero.
They're going to be up on our social media. So everybody watching, first thing to do is type Conrad's name in the search, and of course hit that follow button at the top right. And you could see there's only 10 people following you right now. So what that means is this:
my wife and bots.
When you make yourself available, there's 10 notifications that will go out, but they, obviously, have the higher likelihood of getting in touch with you. So everybody listening, go ahead and follow him. Next, you could click his Instagram and hit the follow button on his Instagram, right? You could see he's live right now, which is cool. He's streaming to his account as well. And then when you scroll down here, you really get to know Conrad because he's got
show about my life.
He's got social media over there. And then,
shout out to Jenna.
Just to give everybody a quick tip before we start calling people is every week we list new Owwll somewhere on the home screen. What you're going to want to do is hit view more. Because of Owwll 2.0, everyone gets listed in here for 30 days. They'll have the new symbol right under their headshot. And what you want to do is go in here and hit the filter button, then hit calls taken, low to high. Because what that's going to do is if you logged into Owwll every single day, there's new experts signing up every single day. We're a new platform, right? People are excited to test it out. And then just go ahead and hit the follow button. If you notice, I have followed all these people. So what that's going to do, it's going to send me a notification when they are available. And you could take it a step further. You could turn on text automation, right? Where all of a sudden you get a text message every time that person goes available. So then I would know that, your first call, I get that text. I have the highest likelihood of being your first caller. People are always shocked. They're like, how did the CEO just call me? That's nuts. How did you know? It's like, well, I'm not leaving it to chance. I'm making it very intentional to follow all these people. And you can see
Make sure you put a picture up.
And you can see very few
never want to
people
call
do
anyone
that
without a picture.
because most people just log in and see who's available on the app, right? And if you think about it, you're getting access to people at $1 because they're trying out the app before they upgrade to a premium account where they get the ability to change their price, right? So you can see there's a doctor right now on a call. She's only $1 to talk to $1, get access. It's pretty impressive, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to look at all these active people right now, right? And we're going to look at one specifically to call, right?
Okay.
Hopefully, we actually, and to take it even a step further, like you could type in like more your space, you could put HVAC, right? So if you really wanted to, right, you could see there's Bob Lafferty. That's the person, family business, Hill York Air Conditioning. But ready for this? Now he created a new company doing sensors. So when those AC units go down, it's more proactive to fix someone's AC unit. So you should get in touch with him. He's not that active on Owwll, but ready? You're a smart guy. Go ahead and message him on LinkedIn, Instagram. Like, hey, I saw you on Owwll. I requested you to go available. Hopefully at some point you can make yourself available. I'd love to chat with you there.
Plus,
he's going to go available.
Right.
Then it shows him like, okay, you're not just messaging him, but even though it's $1, I'm willing to pay you for your time on Owwll.
Yeah.
You're more serious about this lead, right? Even though it's $1, it's still having that paywall there. He knows, okay, this isn't just a sales call, someone cold messaging me on LinkedIn. Who is this person? He can, see that you're legit. So
I think it's similar to a free trial when you enter your credit card.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're going to do is we're going to look for someone that would kind of be a good person for you to collaborate with. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to a financial advisor. How about that?
Okay.
Because a financial advisor pretty much has gone through different ad campaigns. Typically, a lot of people throw shit up against the wall and then quit, right? And you know that if you got it working for this financial advisor, the odds are that they would be a repeat customer for life with you, right?
Mm-hmm. That's the main thing is getting it to work. Yep.
Yeah, she's a certified financial planner, and we know that a certified financial planner, if they just bring in one client that brings in $1 million of assets for them, they're charging 1%. That's $10,000 a year of revenue. Do they care about a $12 or $50 ad? Absolutely not. They care about the quality of those leads coming in. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a real example, and we're making an intentional call versus sometimes people just call people to call. It's like, no, if you're in the service business, right? Not services, but the calling people in the service business, right? You want to call and collaborate with those folks. You don't want to call every single person on Owwll. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to call Mello. I'm going to see what she has to say in a moment. We're going to wait for her to pick up.
While we're waiting, in terms of these ads, the ad spend, like I'm sure it's different for every business. It's a hard question, but like if you were to give a range of like what people should start out spending, okay, say like I'll just use myself as an example. Me as a musician,
like
right?
$5 or $10 a day. Run some video views because you want people to experience your music.
Right.
It's not about
$5 or $10 a day. That's doable.
Nothing. You don't have to do anything crazy. And then you run video views and you do the United States. Maybe if you want other people or other countries to hear you too. Yeah. I wouldn't say do maybe full. I mean, I guess you could do worldwide.
Would you say boosting though as well? Or
I would say you probably want to do it strategically and go into the ads manager, do a video views campaign. And like through this, I'm working on it to make a little course that's not overly expensive that can literally teach your mom, your dad, yourself, anybody how to run ads effectively is
Yeah,
the key
I'll
word,
buy it.
so they can actually get some results. Because I work with a lot of clients on a monthly basis, and I'm just talking here, trying to figure out a way where I can, I can serve more people, but not have to give so much of myself every
Totally.
second. 'Cause I
And
have it right now. I do great, but I
right.
have a job. I
Especially
have to
for
make
the
sure everybody's
people
happy all the
who
time.
are starting out and
We
don't
have,
have such
we
a
have someone.
big.
Called someone else because Mel did not pick up.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, Brian, you are live on the Owwll Podcast. Are you cool with being recorded? This is streaming out on social media.
Sure.
Awesome. Well, Brian, we were just talking about ad campaigns. Our guest today is a phenomenal expert who works a lot in the construction space. He's helped brands literally go from $1 million of revenue to $5 million of revenue by just teaching them how to properly get the right quality leads flowing in, but also on the back end, the systems, of course, how to then nurture those leads, right? Call them quickly, how to text them, automation, everything new that you see with AI. And Brian, I know you didn't get to see his profile, does a lot within the construction world.
Okay,
Right.
cool.
He is a phenomenal service person. I'm really close with Brian. He's one of our leaders on our brand ambassador Zooms every week. He's helped other people utilize Owwll as a lead source.
Beautiful.
But the reason why I called Brian was less about that, more to chat about collaborating, just because he is in the construction space.
Sure.
Right. And he's that guy that people refer often. Most of his leads come in via referral because he does such a good job.
Yeah.
And one job, it shows itself, it shines. And then of course they're like, he's so great at communicating, work with Brian. So I just want you, Conrad, meet Brian, and Brian meet Conrad. And I want to see if we could bridge just an opportunity here, because Brian, he's doing some really cool stuff with ads. And of course, if he could show you ways to get ads at $15, $25, but then pick up a nice project, I'm sure you would be interested, right?
Absolutely.
Cool. So Conrad, tell him a tag.
Sure, Brian. So what I try to do is I focus on how can you actually make money with running some ads instead of just blowing your money and getting a bunch of leads. Leads are important, but the thing is, they often become, I feel like, overlooked, or just as, oh, it's just leads, right? Instead of saying, okay, well, how much did it cost me to do? Okay, well, we did 5 leads, right? Out of these 5 leads, did we get an appointment? Or 3 messages came in, did we get an appointment, right? And then how much did that appointment cost in a grand total? Then the project size we're trying to do, what is that? And if we can get 3 or 4 appointments, can we sell a deal? And if we sell that deal out of those 4 or 5 appointments, whatever it is, are we profitable? That's pretty much my main formula in a nutshell, without any numbers, is trying to say, how can we make sure that we're always making money with what we're doing? Now, he said you're in the construction business. Maybe you can tell me a little bit more directly of what type of construction, so I could think of a few things for you.
Yeah, so my construction company is a pretty small one. I don't have any employees, but I do have other 1099s that I hire from time to time to help.
Sure.
Basically as subs. Because of the fact, well, partly because you know how it is to hire people. They all, want paid, but don't want to show up and don't want to complete the job. And so I do a lot of it myself.
Okay.
And then, and or hire subs to do specific parts that I don't want to do or am not as efficient as hiring a sub would be. But in most cases, when I'm doing leads, of course, I haven't had to advertise my company in over 30 years because, as Jason said, I get referrals. But I do. Are you familiar with the Thumbtack platform?
Absolutely.
So I have utilized that platform a little bit. And I find that most of my leads are under $10, and I'm at about a 95% closure. If I get the lead, I close the deal and do the job or the project for them.
Okay. My question to you then be, because I'm just I'm a very real person. I just say it like it is. That is fantastic, right? And probably even paid ads, you're probably not going to get better than that. My question to you is, can you scale that, and can you get as many as you possibly want with that?
Well, I have as many as I want, I would, because I'm only one person. So as long as I'm busy, most of the time I'm not even utilizing Thumbtack because I have enough other projects just from referrals.
Mhm.
So Thumbtack is only as a backup if I happen to have, where somebody pushed a project off a week and no other projects are ready for 1 week. I'll literally turn Thumbtack on for 3 days, fill that week, and then I'm done. And then I turn Thumbtack back off for a year.
He brings up a good point because I know a lot about Brian, where he worked for a brand that had 800 people under his umbrella. Not everybody wants to scale, so he'd be an individual where often you're like, okay, not the right fit, because you could smell he likes the lifestyle business. He has children, he's married, and he doesn't want to have the people under him to put out fires. I think a lots of times people who've been in that situation, they've scaled a tad. They realize how hard it is to manage people and put out fires, and all of a sudden it's not what they dreamed of. This entrepreneurial journey and show that people represent on social media isn't always what it is made out to be.
Nope.
And sometimes just being a one-person show with a very high profit margin and more referral-based business is the sweet spot. And I see that a lot. Obviously, financial services, you see that more than ever. People scale and then shift right back to a small team because they just rather have that high margin and less things go wrong. So I like how Brian kind of threw that back at you a tad.
Yeah, Ty Lopez talked about that a lot as well.
Mhm.
He said, "Hey, if you can go, somewhere mid to high six figures, and you can enjoy your life at the same time and not have any employees or something like that, you're good, you're good to go." So with that being said, like I understand, it's like, okay, hey, because myself, I have at any time 30 to 40 clients. It's a lot of clients. It's a lot of people to deal with, but the margins are great. And I don't really have any, as you help somebody, they stay on and that's it. So I understand your model and I appreciate your model because I don't like, I have another thing I'm trying to work on slowly and kind of like a more of a close your eyes, put money into it and grow the company. But my company, Market Monster, who I am, Conrad Quinter Consulting, that's all me. And I'll never scale that. And I don't want to scale that because I enjoy my life. I don't want, people say, this is what people say, Brian. People say, and you probably experienced it, but people say, oh, make a company so you don't have to work, so you can do this. You work just as hard and twice as hard, and you have so much more on your head if something goes wrong, because now not only are you only taking care of yourself, you have to take care of 40, 50 employees. And if something goes down, you can have an absolute nightmare. And I've talked to people, they say like, yeah, we do 10 million in sales. And then you talk to the owner and this and that, and you find out what he makes, and you make the same as he does after it's all said and done, but you're just by yourself. So
and I have no headaches.
Exactly, Brian. I
So
fully
that's
get it.
where
Yeah.
I do coach as a business consultant of 20 plus years now. I do coach other business owners, especially into the startup space where they're starting into entrepreneurship, because I feel like I have seen both sides, from helping companies scale from a small regional company to a national brand, and, personally training over 800 representatives for them. I understand the challenges of scaling, but I also understand the headaches of it. And so that's where I try to help people really look at, is scaling the right answer, or is, finding a sweet spot in your own niche a better solution for you? It depends what somebody wants. If they just want to manage everybody and really, be kind of the top dog over a big organization, then scaling might be your sweet spot, but not everybody wants that. So that's where I think that, you definitely have a great niche, and I certainly will send people your way.
Sure.
If they're wanting to scale and look at those options, I'll definitely send them your way, because I don't usually anymore get as involved in the actual ads and campaigns and, scaling and systems like I used to. I more help them look at, what is their true sweet spot and what's really the solution for what they want personally. Are they trying to get more time with their family, or are they just wanting to build a massive,
right. There you go. You said the
empire,
magic,
so to
you said
speak?
the magic word, because the thing that's more valuable than cash flow and money is time. So people work so hard to make money, and then they're making money and doing all this, but then they don't get time to spend with their family. And then they eventually realize that the time they get to spend with their family and do those things is actually more valuable than the money that they're making. So if they can find something in the middle, they're spot on then.
Yep.
Brian.
Yeah, I appreciate the call.
Thanks for joining us today
thanks.
on the Owwll Podcast. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks, brother.
So what's really cool about these calls, right? You could see like he's not your ideal client, right? But he is your ideal center of influence that will refer you people because he understands what you're doing and he utilizes Owwll all the time. So I think people get expectations wrong. They'll do 10 calls on Owwll, say your app sucks, it didn't work. I go, no, your expectations were wrong. For every 10 calls, you're going to have calls like the one you just had with Brian, and the more people who know what you do and you accurately explain what you do will then refer you inside the app or on social media as well. And then 1 out of 10 could be that potential.
But you said the right thing there. See, that 1 out of 10, that 1 out of 5, that 1 out of 3. When people are doing ads and leads and things like that online, they have the false expectations. They think every lead should pick up the phone and book an appointment and want to hand them over $10, $15, $20,000. And that's just not how it works. A lead is meant so you can get.
I mean, imagine if you're thinking of a lead as like an in-person thing. You go to a networking event and you meet people, right? And then even when I think of it as like downloads, like I get a lead, how many of those real life leads or people at an event actually are going to buy your product? I feel like doing
like network marketing, how hard is that?
It's so hard. And I feel like people think like, oh, because it's a computer and like these automated things, it's going to be easier. And it's like, no.
And what I get is I went out, man, they're just a bunch of tire kickers. Well, what the hell you want me to do? You want me to sell the job for you? I'll do it for you, but you give me a fat percentage of it. I'll call them up myself.
Absolutely.
But the tire kicker is because you haven't demonstrated enough value to them to see that you're the right solution to solve their problem. They have a problem. That's why they clicked on the ad. They have an issue. That's why they booked the appointment. But when you're out there, if they're not saying, oh, well, I'll just get back to you or this and that. Okay, I understand, Dan. Yep. I get that. But besides having to get back to me or talk to my wife, is there any other reason we wouldn't do business today?
People just have sales breath too much. It's just like they have the.
Well, they don't ask them the reason why.
Also, too much of the take model versus the give model. And going back to what you did with Brian is you just had a natural conversation. You were just chit chatting, and you realize like, okay, there's no. The
first thing I did was tell him to try to scale on Thumbtack because I knew I wouldn't be able to beat that.
Yeah. And then here's the cool part. Like if this was you really after a call with Brian, like you come in here, like Brian posted, connecting individuals, right? Now, because it was me who called Brian, like I could go in here and go at Brian, right? And I could actually say connect with Conrad, right? Where are you? There you are. And then boom, like you're getting a notification, he's getting a notification, and we're connecting two people. Because for every conversation that happens on Owwll, right, it could then have a ripple impact on your next conversation, right? Because there's so many entrepreneurs in the app that need help from your services, but if not enough people know what you really do, right? People don't waste time going to your Instagram account, then clicking the link.
People don't think
then figuring out on their own what you really do.
They don't think about the referral aspect and the community aspect of Owwll. I think that's so huge. Is like I call every new person on the app because they might literally. I called someone the other day and it's like, oh, my sister is having a birthday party and she needs a singer. Like it's not always about how are you going to directly get a sale from someone, right? But how are you? People on here also, they're all like-minded. They want to refer each other. They want to help other small business owners. So they're literally sitting here saying, hey, I want to talk to you. I'm open to calling. Like I'm open to you calling me. That's why when I pitch the app, I always say, we are the only networking app that connects you with engaged professionals,
That's new. You added the word engaged to it. Like
that actually want to engage with you, not
a medical professional. Like it costs $350 for a doctor's appointment. You talk to her for 10 minutes. Hey, this is whatever is going on. Just hypothetically where you think this could be.
But look at that right there. She's interested in like podcasting and public speaking, right? So if you have a podcast, right, you can immediately go over here. And if this is, your target type of professional that you want on there, call her for $1 and be like, hey, after a minute or two, you have chemistry, come on podcast. Or even for you.
Yeah, if you're trying to build
a podcast host, right? You could call her and be like, hey, I see you're interested in collaborating. You're a host. And immediately,
Like if you want to build your podcast, geez, Louise. So all you do is just call them, say,
Got
hey,
on here
I
and-
love what you do. I'd love to interview on my podcast. Okay, cool. Whenever is it? Okay, we're gonna do it on Wednesday. We're gonna set up
Yeah.
live. You could have literally probably in a 6-month shot, you could have at least 70, 80 podcasts done on YouTube, really
Absolutely.
beautiful, ready to go. So as soon as somebody goes there, they see, okay, and then one of those is going to go viral, or 2 of them, and then all of a sudden now you become that authority in that space.
Mhm.
And here's people who want to be interviewed on podcasts. People always look for me. They're sitting right here.
Sitting there.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
Okay, well, that wraps up today's show. We just have one last segment. It is the bet section, right? We are going to place a bet right now on the spot.
Okay.
We do it on the fly. We don't come into this episode thinking what we're going to bet you. We base it on the conversation that we've had. It's a unique show where we just throw something where you have to do on the Owwll app, right? And if you complete it, you're going to get something from us, right? Something from us could be absolutely anything. You could say, I liked using your studio. I want to come back and get to interview someone that you want content with, right? We give you our studio. We could say on our next event, we'll get you in for free, right? I do a lot of events in South Florida. You're well aware of this.
Say,
and
I'll give you a referral.
You get, if I
Business
get a free
referral.
ticket, I get it. Or you could say, hey, Jason, I'm going to post in the chat for him on Owwll, and I want you to tag specific people that you think I should work with, right? Obviously, I know a lot of people in the trades, right? So I could easily say, okay, these are specific people I think you should try to get on a call with and tag a bunch of people, right? I did that for our guest 2 weeks ago. Their goal was to get on 20 podcasts in the next 12 months. And I was like, this is the easiest thing in the world. I'm connected to Podfest Expo. We have an event with them on November 19th in Boca Raton. I was like, not only will I connect you with them, but I'm going to actually have you come out to the event and literally get you on them in person and just introduce you to people on the spot. So that's the side on our side. And on our end, it's a bet. So if you lose, you're going to have to do something for us, of course.
Fair enough.
So what do you think the goals, and the goals get higher as you kind of bet more. So what should he have to do? He is talking.
I think he should have to make 7 calls on Owwll in the next 7 days. What do you want? What do you think?
I think he should. He's the ad master. I think he should run an ad with his own money and get us 10 downloads. Because he could run an ad in 2 seconds.
But you have to get me access to everything though.
No, I'm saying your own account. Why can't you run an ad and say?
No, not if I'm not admin or whatever.
Oh yeah, we just give him admin. Okay, yeah, I like that. So yeah, if you get us 10 downloads from your ads, then what do you want from us?
Podcast, get me on good podcasts.
Okay, that's easy.
How many? Because that.
Well, you say you know everybody, so
I know a lot of podcasters.
I mean, because hear me out. If I get you these 10 downloads and this thing works, and then all of a sudden I just put in, we put in some real ad spend, this could change everything for Owwll.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying let's make it more unique. Let's make it geared to your profession.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
We have an ad account. We've tried them.
Good idea. Good
idea. Ready to run.
Okay. So
it's just changing the ads.
I could do hers. That's not a problem. But you're
it's
challenging.
I'll put
Yours is
in, because there's got to be a budget to this. I'll put in $250 of ads. You got $250 of ads to get us a minimum of 10 downloads.
$25 to download.
Yeah, so that's way reasonable. You know that, and then we're gonna see what happens because we want good quality downloads. Because like when we ran these ads last time, I got downloads that didn't do anything. For some odd reason, the downloads that came in are like the ones that didn't make a call, didn't take call. I'm like, didn't put a headshot in. It's like the weirdest thing ever.
I did it for my own thing too, and I feel like I got.
Okay, so I'll run the ads through my own platform and I'll cover the cost. You have to actually put in the work.
Of course. No, the reason I said
work
is I was trying to think of why.
And if you get the 10, and then if you get
in the app,
and if you get 10 downloads, then I will introduce you to 3 good podcasts, right? Because I think there's a big difference on the quality of podcasts out there. Yes, I get you in 3 in 2 seconds, but ones
are they good quality? Do they have a following?
Content.
Yeah, all of that.
Yeah, there's a lot of saturation in the podcast world right now.
So is it a deal?
Fine, deal.
Okay, so.
Okay.
The camera doesn't show your legs crossed though, but that's okay.
Yeah, well, uncross.
I'm just kidding.
All right.
And everybody call him. His profile, I showed it up on the screen. Give him a call on the Owwll app.
I'll give you everything in my brain for that.
Let's call him and invite him on your podcast. Do the work for me.
All right. That's it.
That's it. We'll see y'all a different time.
Thank you for
Take care.
joining us,
Take care.
everyone.
Thanks.